Hello. Let's get into this. My apologies for being late, y'all, but we are going to talk about why you are procrastinating in the dissertation process. I'm getting into it because today is absolutely a full day. So let's do this. The real answer, we're going to get into it. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself to do the dissertation right, but I'm gonna make this clear. If you want to see this as full screen, if you're on Instagram, come and watch me on YouTube and then you can see it on a bigger screen. But I also understand if you're doing other things. Okay. You might be like, girl, just tell me how to stop procrastinating. But that would be doing a disservice to you if I just told you the how without the why. The why is a more complicated answer, but it's important because I could tell you how to do something. And if you don't know why to do it or how it fits into the other reasons why you do your other routines, then it won't matter. You know all the information. You can watch all the webinars and workshops about time management and being productive, and you know the how. The question is why you're not doing the thing that you know you need to do. Right? 80% of who we are, 80% of how we think, how we feel, our habits are automatic. What does that mean? You are already a consistent person. Let me say it again for the people who are multitasking in the back. You are already consistent. You already show up and you do the same shit every day. You just don't like what you do every day. You don't like the things that you are consistent in. But the good news here is that if you can control what you do every day, then you can also change it. Let me say it a different way. If you want to become a doctor, you have to start acting like a doctor now. You have to do what doctors do. You got to do doctor shit now. I'm gonna do a lot of cussing, y'all, because it's later in the week and I'm tired and we are here. Meaning, you don't become a doctor just as you finish a dissertation and you graduate. You become a doctor because you learn how to think and act like a doctor. So that means you need to practice doing that. If you are coming in, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube, tell me hi, y'all, because it's getting real lonely on this side of things, right? You procrastinate, like I was saying in the beginning, because you don't trust yourself to do it right. And we can substitute it for anything. It can be you don't trust yourself to write the right way. You don't trust yourself to read the right way. You don't trust that what you know is correct. Meaning you are sitting here reading and writing. You keep constantly thinking about your chair, your committee, and you keep wondering, are they going to think I did this right? Are they going to clock me? Are they going to ask me questions? Reason why you're not taking action, whether it's writing or reading or whatever you need to be doing for yourself, is because you're worried about doing it the wrong way. You're worried about wasting time. You're worried that somebody's going to call you out. And I get that probably really real reasons why you have those fears. But I want you to know the reason why you are procrastinating is because you're scared of looking like you don't know what it is that you're doing. And if I am stepping on your toes, please let me know. You are more committed to, and I feel like that's spelled wrong, but here's the thing, you're more committed to believing these things about yourself. Let me change it so you can see. You're more committed to being like, but I'm just so tired. But this process is so hard. I just need to get it together. I know what I need to do. I just need to get organized, but I'm a slow writer and I don't have the same type of support and resources like other people do. Right? I'm so far behind. I can't make it. You're more committed to being consistent and thinking these things every day because you think that these things are true about yourself. You think that it is true that you are slow. You're slow in terms of writing and reading. You think it's true that you don't know what you're doing. You have decided that you don't know as much or more than your chair. Let me say it again. Many of you know more than your committee. You know more than your chair. And the only thing that's stopping you from fully operating that is believing that that's true. Let me slow down. Does anybody have a question or like, are you following me? Put a one in the chat if you're following, because I just want to make sure that y'all are understanding what I'm saying. You think that it's a fact that you have so much further to go because you see your chair in a position of power. And I am telling you that the only difference between you in your chair as it relates to your research is that they have a signed piece of paper saying that they have a degree from a particular institution, calling them doctor. In terms of what y'all know, in terms of your ability to figure things out, in terms of your tenacity, your perseverance, most likely you probably outwork them. You probably outrank them in this capacity. But I know it's going to be hard for some of y'all to believe. Please know, I see y'all on Instagram. Do you believe that you know more than your chair is my question in this particular topic? Do you believe, and Dell, I see you, if you're still here, you're about to defend. As you go to your defense, do you believe that you're more knowledgeable than your committee about your topic? I'm not saying this for you to be arrogant. I'm not saying this because I'm saying they're bad people. I'm asking you, when it comes down to the factual, what you know versus what they know when it comes to this particular research area, where do you think you stand in terms of being the expert? A committee, a chair, their main job is to guide you along the research process. Research is different than the content. The content is your topic, right? Like you might be studying, I was just helping someone who studied experienced Black women in predominantly white institutions. That is different than her knowledge of qualitative research. What you know about a topic is not the same as what you know about the research project. And many of you, or process, many of you conflate the two. You think because you're learning research for the first time, you're learning how to design a research project. You're learning, like, should I do interviews? Should I do focus groups? You're conflating that because your knowledge is newer in that area, that means you don't know your content. You don't know what your topic is. Those are two different things. And so what I'm asking you is, do you believe that you know what you're talking about? You may not be as familiar with research because this is brand new, but do you believe you know what you're talking about? Do you believe that you read the literature and that you lived these experiences? Because many of you are doing dissertation projects that mirror your own experience. Do you trust yourself to know the content? Because if you do, then you can take the pressure off. You can let the shame go about, oh, I'm not doing this good enough. I'm not, whatever the story you have, and realize that, of course, I don't know how to do research. I'm new. It's new. But that doesn't mean that I'm not an expert in this topic. This is going to hit somebody later on in the card. Okay, I am more knowledgeable because I am the expert. I did the research. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm asking folks to consider that you don't need to write for your committee. You don't need to write to see if they're going to say you did it right, because there's no way for them to know if you did it right because it's not their expertise. Right? It would be like, I'm trying to think of an analogy off the top of my head. If I know that I'm an expert, I don't know, in sweet tea, right? But I'm trying to figure out how to sell my sweet tea at Buc-ee's, which is a store or gas station, if you're unfamiliar, right? Just because I'm unfamiliar about how to sell the sweet tea at Buc-ee's doesn't mean I'm not an expert in sweet tea. I know how to make it. I know how to get my ingredients. I know how to, change the sweetness level. That ain't got nothing to do with how you figure out where the sweet tea goes on the shelves at Buc-ee's and how many sweet teas I need to order for Buc-ee's. I'm saying the same thing is true for your dissertation. Your experience with your topic is one thing. The research is a whole other thing. Okay, I think y'all got it. My point is, I need you to release the story that you are not good enough, because you keep thinking that on a loop, and that is becoming true because you keep telling yourself that it's true. But if you learn to tell yourself a different story, you would get through this dissertation faster. Okay, let me go back. When you think things like this constantly, it is why you constantly feel burnt out. You feel tired, you feel sleepy, you feel drained, you feel anxious, you feel confused, you feel overwhelmed. These things are a habit. You think it's just what life is. I can find a lot of people who have similar or the same circumstances as you, and they don't feel the same way. I'm not telling you this because I want you to feel bad. I'm telling you that you have an option, because we are not going to be able to change oppression overnight. You're not going to be able to change a system overnight. But if you are waiting until you become a doctor, or you're waiting until racism ends for you to feel any ounce of joy or peace, friend, you're going to be waiting for a very long time. My point is, can you get to a place where you learn to tell yourself a different story? Because if you don't, you will become someone who keeps only writing when they feel like it, when they are inspired. You'll keep making a plan because many of you make a plan, you got a little running to-do list, but you never look at it throughout the week, or you only look at it to shit on yourself, meaning you only look at it to say, look at all the things I didn't do this week. This is you being consistent. You consistently do this every week. You consistently write the same things down on your to-do list, and you keep telling yourself this Sunday is be different. I'm gonna show up. Yet every week, the same thing happens where you don't show up. You keep blocking off time. I'm gonna take a break or I'm gonna write, and you don't do it because somebody calls you and they ask you to come do something, or somebody else's emergency comes your priority. And because you're up all day long doing shit for everybody else, now you got to do, what is it called? Revenge bedtime procrastination, where you stay up to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning scrolling on Instagram and TikTok because you're tired and you didn't have a break for your day. But you consistently do that every single day. What I'm asking you to do, because this is tough love right now, is to realize that you're already consistent. You consistently procrastinate. You consistently say this week is going to be different and you don't show up and do something different. You consistently meet with your chair, make them big promises, and you don't follow through. I'm not saying like, oh, you're such a bad person. I'm trying to get you to understand that you're consistent. Do you want to change what you're consistent in? You talking shit to yourself, you be like, oh, I need to do, like, I'm just such an awful person. You doing that is consistent, but it's not helping you. If talking to yourself that way was going to help you, if talking to yourself of like, it doesn't matter how I feel or how tired I am, if that was going to work, procrastination would be an issue for you. I'm going through this part. If you're still with me, kudos to you. The reason why I'm going through this is because it's the why. What did I say at the beginning? You already know how not to procrastinate. I could ask you to rattle off like 10 steps of how to stop procrastinating. You tell me. The reason why we're talking about the why, and the why is you don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself is because you keep telling yourself these stories about how you're not consistent, how you're so tired, how the world is so unfair, because you're focusing on those parts and not focusing on, okay, what do I need? How do I help myself? What if I didn't know what I was talking about, but I just need to learn research? How differently would that make you feel? You probably would feel more relief. You probably would feel like, oh, it's just one thing I need to go. Let me go ask the people about research. If that's really what it is, if it ain't got nothing to do with how smart I am or how capable I am, if I actually think that I belong in this program, if I believe that I'm going to be doctored, then I would move differently. Let me give you a different example. Because if Beyonce said, girl, we gonna go on like, you get to go on tour with me. You just got to do all your work. I'm going to show up and do all my work. I believe, because she told me that I'm going to concert with her. What I'm asking you is, do you believe that you're going to become a doctor? Do you believe you are someone who's capable of becoming a doctor? Do you believe that you have what it takes? And if the answer is no, go deeper. Why? What exactly do you feel like you're missing that would help you to become a doctor? Because that is what we need to solve for. You don't need another plan. You don't need somebody yelling at you. You need to figure out what are the reasons why you think you can't trust yourself to do this process, and let's solve for that. If you're brave enough, let me know. Put it in the chat. Tell me something. You could tell me about a friend. You could tell me, what is it that a friend of yours would say as the reason why they don't trust themselves to become doctor? What is it? Now, I could hear somebody saying this because I get this often. And some people say, well, my chair, I turned in a draft and they gave me all this feedback and they essentially told me I didn't know what I was talking about. The question I want to ask that person is it that you didn't know what you were talking about, or you didn't give yourself enough time to edit your draft so that it made sense? Two different things. Is it really that you didn't do enough reading, or you didn't give yourself enough time to edit the document? Was it disorganized? Was it all over the place? Were you having like a bunch of run-on sentences? Because that is grammar and mechanics. That has nothing to do with what you know. So we need to get clear. Okay, I am drowning in a foot of water. Tell me what's in this water. Is it you feel like you have so many things competing for your time and attention and you don't know what to focus on first? Because that's real. That's real. Especially if you, right, this time of year, we got homecomings, we got midterms. This is where people start to get sick, especially little kids start to get sick, right? If you're doing any type of caregiving for your parents, grandparents, or any other family members, it could probably feel like a lot right now because this is a high time of transition. But you know what the thing is with that example? That ain't got nothing to do with what you know. You being overwhelmed because of all these things competing for your time and attention has nothing to do with what you know. So when you go to write and your brain wants to say, oh, the reason why you can't do it because you don't read enough or you don't know enough, you tell your brain, actually, that's not it. I need to solve for all these things that are competing for my time and attention. I need more white space on my calendar. I need more time to rest and take care of myself so I can have the necessary energy to show up and take what I know and put it on the paper. Two different conversations. So if you, Mary, let me know if it's more about the that are competing for your time and or attention. If you are someone, because what I also get is people will say, well, I have so much to read. I read like 200 books. I got to read like 50 articles. My question is why? How do you know you have to read that many? Somebody's going to read this question. I need you to let it settle in your spirit. How do you know how much you need to read? Let's say for a literature review. Who told the number? Did your program, your chair, your committee, your instructor, did someone explicitly give you a number? Did you give yourself that number? And if it's the latter where you gave yourself the number, how do you know that's the number? How do you know you don't need 1,000? How do you know that 10 wouldn't be enough? These questions are important. How do you know how much you need to read? Another question is, how many pages would a dissertation be? How do you know? Whose like evidence, like whose rubric are you using? How do you know that you're supposed to write a 100-page literature review? I ask these questions. They seem like very like, what girl, duh, on this. I really want you to sit with it. A lot of times we put these expectations on ourselves that we made up because we're trying to figure it out because we've done it before. But that doesn't change the fact that they're not made up. And then when we make up these expectations, typically these expectations are much higher than most people's. And then when we can't live up to them, now it's like, I'm a failure. But are you a failure, or did you make an expectation like on not enough information? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to tell you what I see. I put doc students into two groups. You got groups like, I know what's standing between me and graduation is a dissertation. And so they go to their chair and they say, hey, chair, what should my topic be? And the chair is like, you should do a topic on the blue sky. And so then the person goes back and they try to write the paragraphs on what they know about blue skies. And then they come back to their chair and they say, okay, chair, I don't know what else to add about blue skies. And then the chair says, go up this literature about clouds. They go look up the literature about clouds and they come back and they say, okay, I did that. What do I do next? Go look up things about the sun and go back and they keep doing that until they have a done dissertation. They're not fighting about, well, why do you want me to do the sky and the solar system? They're not asking, why you want me to talk about clouds instead of the trees or the water? They're not doing none of that. They say, oh, you want me to do that? I'm going to do exactly what you told me to do. The second group, which I feel like most of you who are watching me still fall into, you go to the chair and you're like, listen, I've been doing reading. I've been doing some thinking. I think I'm going to do a project on the solar system. And we'll talk about these 3 planets and all the clouds and the gases and whatnot. And the chair in their mind is like, I don't know nothing about that. You like you got a good plan. So I'm going to let you have it. Keep going. And so then you go back and you're like, look at me. The chair was impressed. They're so great. I'm going to do it. And then you get overwhelmed because now you can't find literature about the other planets. You can only find literature about planet Earth. And now you're trying to like put things together, not making sense. And now you got all the stuff that you done read and you can't see straight. So then you try to go back to your chair months later and you're like, chair, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. And the chair is like, you just got to keep reading. You got to keep reading. Now, why would they be saying you got to keep reading? It's because you are doing something that's outside of their wheelhouse. and they don't know how to help you. But because of how our society is set up, because of how higher education is set up, they can't tell you explicitly, I don't know what you're doing. And some people will tell you, no, that's not my topic, and maybe you should go find you a different chair. You're determined to make it work, right? Because you as a young child has always made a way out of no way. And so you are determined to make this work. And you're like, no, chair, I think we'll do it together. But help me figure out what to read. And the chair's like, I done told you in so many ways, I can't help you. But if you do this topic over here, I can help you. And you're like, no, you don't believe in me. You don't want me to do this. And the chair's like, I'm trying to tell you I can't help you. And so you keep going in circles and you get overwhelmed. And now you're thinking that everybody must know something that you don't know. What you don't realize is that you initially started out with a project that was way beyond the scope of their understanding and their capabilities. And what you think that you don't know what you're doing is really nobody knows what they're doing. And if you really mean what you say, when you say to yourself, I just want to be done with this dissertation, I want to graduate, then you know what you would do? You would go to the chair and say, tell me what the topic is, and I'll do your topic exactly the way you told me to do it. Now, I get somebody that wouldn't work for me, but I also went into it knowing, okay, if I'm going to do my own topic and I'm going to do it my way, then I also have to take what comes with that, which is uncertainty, confusion, doubt, overwhelm. But if I am someone who's like, I just want to get this done, I don't care, and I'm to do exactly what my chair tells me to do. Let me pause and see what y'all are saying. Do you understand the difference? Okay. I'm a non-traditional student with a lot of parental responsibility, and adult sibling with autism, and I'm struggling to control my calendar so I have time to rest, recover, and work. Yes, the chair saying they don't want to get in my way when I could use a bit of guidance. Yeah. If I was going to translate that for you, they're like, I didn't do all of that. And you're so smart. And you seemed, here's another way of saying it. They're trying to figure out even all of that you have going on, the parent stuff, being a non-traditional student, and you still have the wherewithal to like come to them with what seems to be a very like well put together proposal or idea. No, they don't know what to do. They're still confused how you're still standing. They're trying to figure out how, with everything that's going on, you still have brain power to even come up with an idea like this. It's more of awe and like, depending on where they are, I'm gonna make some generalities and some assumptions. From my experience, most of them are just like, I don't even know. I was not that capable as a student. I'm not that capable now. And their insecurities, but they're human. Their insecurities get in the way. And so then they give you very generic responses like, well, you got it. Just keep going. And you're like, but no, give me guidance. You talking to them about advanced calculus and they never made it out of algebra. They can't help you. With everything that you have going on, the question on the table is, can you wait to do the project you really want to do? If it's more about, okay, I just want to get this off my table, how do you reduce the project? Now, you may need some help and you may need somebody to talk that out with. That could be the thing that guides the conversation. How do I pare down this topic, or how can I find a topic that is more simple? And if you're comfortable, you can let me know what your topic is and we can talk, or you even want to come over here and we can go live and coach through it if you want to come to YouTube. But they don't know. And especially as a non-traditional student, you have lived life, friend. Like, you have had to figure out shit that people probably haven't had to figure out. Because the fact that you allowed yourself, like, at this stage of life with everything that's going on in your circumstances, and you still decided to go to a doctoral program, most people are just like, what? How can you do that? What's going on? So you let me know if you want to come over here. Y'all, I done got all the way off. I don't even know what I was talking about. My slides. Okay, here we go. Try not to go on too many rants, but that's what I'm feeling in my spirit today. Okay. You have the ability to change how you think and act. Why is this? Something I say a lot of the times is like, you don't have to feel like doing something to do it. Let me come back off. I have to feel like writing to write. I don't have to feel like cleaning my bathroom to go clean my bathroom. The reason I'm saying that is you might go to your chair, Mary, let's just say you go to your chair and you're like, okay, I'm going to change the topic. And what they say, oh, you should change it to this. You may not feel like doing it. It may not do nothing. It may not light up nothing in your spirit, but that ain't got nothing to do with finishing the dissertation. You don't have to feel inspired. This doesn't have to be your best work. This doesn't have to be the thing that's going to make you as a scholar in order for you to become a doctor. I know a lot of you. I'm sure every one of you, if I was to ask you, do you know someone who's being called the doctor right now that you feel like they didn't even work for it, they don't even deserve it, they don't even know a fraction of what you know? That is the clue, the proof there of you don't have to be like the all knowing. You don't have to be the most committed, the most motivated to become a doctor. You just have to be willing to show up and do the steps to become a doctor. We tend to put so much pressure on this title, and there are just people who just show up. Oh, I'm supposed to write that. I'm supposed to read that. Okay, then they just check the boxes and they become doctor. And they got the same degree as you from the same institution, and it holds the same weight. And people are just impressed with them as they are with you because nobody knows enough or cares enough to be like, oh, you did this, but you did that. There's only a small fraction of people in the world who would know the difference between you and that other person. I'm saying that to say, get your degree and then worry about changing the world. Finish your dissertation and then worry about how you can make it to your best work. And as a caveat to the caveat, your dissertation cannot be your best work. No matter how much you want it to be, it cannot be because you are a beginner. This is your first time designing a research project from start to finish. This is your first time doing the research and writing it up. If something is your first time, how can it be your best thing that you've ever done? Does that logically make sense? I'm asking you to take your feelings out of it and think about logic. Does it logically make sense that the dissertation would be your best work when this is your first time ever doing it? It does not logically make sense. If you can accept that, the faster you will treat it like you treated every other assignment in class, and you done with it. In every class, you didn't go into it being like, this is going to be the best paper I ever write. No, you're like, listen, this is what we're supposed to do in October. I'm going to write a little paper, try to get a little A minus and call it a day. You're not over here working on it for months and months and months. You like, they told me to write it this way and I'm going to write it this way so I can get my little A and get done with this class or my B or whatever your grade is. I can pass and get done and get to the next stage. The dissertation is no different. I get that people hype it up. I get that people are like, oh, it's not, they're liars. I'm not saying they're lying on purpose, but I need you to hear me. They are liars. And my petty answer would be, it's probably the best thing they've ever done because they probably have really challenged themselves. But if you are in my world, learning is a sport for you. Like learning is a hobby. You most likely have been reading books. You could pick up a book. Okay. If you like me, you was reading an encyclopedia for fun because somebody my daddy gave me the encyclopedia thinking it was going to shut me up. And then it just gave me more language and more questions, like words to ask him questions. He messed up, right? That is just what I did as a 3-4-year-old. Imagine in a PhD program, like I can just read all this stuff. It's just accessible. Most people, though, didn't do that. Most people have gone through their life, and I don't mean this in no shady way, but most people have gone through their life doing exactly what people told them to do, reading exactly what their teachers told them to read, and writing only what they were told to write. It wasn't for sport. So here you are thinking, finally, I'm gonna get to the dissertation phase and I get to like flex my muscles, all the things that I've learned, read to do this amazing project. And what you didn't realize is that other people, including your committee and your chair, did not do the same thing. So they're not at the level you are. And so this cannot be a project that's like all the best thing you've ever done because your audience can't keep up with you. Okay, I did go off on more rants. Okay. My butthole smells. I've been sitting and writing for so long. Friend, take a shower, okay? Because this becoming doctor is not worth your hygiene, okay? Listen, other problems start coming from that. Go. Listen, reset. Take a shower. Put on, if you got some nice lotion, go do that. You could even pop it in the microwave for a couple of seconds, right? Let's just make this a whole luxurious experience is pop it in the microwave, put it on. Okay. Maybe go find, that robe or that shirt or whatever that feels real good on your skin. You probably go put that on, go get you some water, a good snack. It's Thursday. And like enjoy that. Take a 30, 40 minutes and just like enjoy that. And then if you got energy left over, go back to the writing or not. Say you'll come back to it tomorrow. Y'all, like taking a break is not going to derail your progress. When you learn to trust yourself, you will take more breaks. The reason why I see like a lot of students, and I don't know, Maria, I don't know, right? This was probably supposed to be funny, but we're here now. A lot of people won't take breaks or they feel like I got to get this done today because you don't trust yourself to come back. You are afraid that something's going to come up or you're going to lose steam or motivation and you're not going to come back because last time you took a break, it took you years or weeks or months to come back. But what if you are different? What if you can trust yourself? What if you are wiser and more knowledgeable and you can trust yourself to show up and follow through? So what if you can trust yourself to go take a luxurious shower, a bath, put on a nice lotion and a nice clothes and still come back and finish? What if you could? It might change how you show up. Okay. The earlier I came to terms with my dissertation not being my best work, I started to progress much quicker in all things dissertation. And that's why you're about to defend. What is it, Monday, Tuesday? And you're about to be a whole ass doctor. Because y'all, if you can accept that, especially if you're doing your best work, it happens in stages. So when you go defend the dissertation, you still have time after the dissertation defense to make edits. They're going to give you edits. Even if they pass you without revisions, I'm going to tell you there's still going to be edits that they are going to suggest to you. You're going to have time between your defense and when the graduate school needs your dissertation to change, to make edits, to write different things, to send it to an editor. Even after you submit it to the graduate school for graduation, there is usually a timeline, like a time built in from you submitting it for graduation, from you to you submitting it for publication, like if you're going to do like ProQuest. If you are thinking about dissertation of the year awards, those don't usually happen until like this time next year or 2 or 3 months after graduation for this very reason, because they want to give you some time to present your best work or whatever it is at that moment. Best work happens in stages. It has to go through many hands. It has to go through a lot of review processes, a lot of editing, a lot of revising. The version of the dissertation that you defend will not be the version of the dissertation that you submit for an award, that you present at a conference, that you submit for publication. You're going to constantly look at it. And the truth is, y'all, I'm getting trolled on the YouTube. And the truth is, I lost my train of thought, but I'll come back. Anyway, defending Monday, it's Friday Eve. Exactly, Kristen. Exactly. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The truth is, after you defend your dissertation, you're going to understand your data in such a different way that you're going to want to recode and reprocess it and rewrite it. Because the dissertation defense is going to mark like an end of a cycle. And it's like all the pieces are going to lock into place. And you're going to be like, oh, I get this research process in a completely different way. I know exactly what I want to do now. In the same way, if somebody was teaching you how to play a game, like I play this game called Sequence. Have y'all ever played this game? It's like this board game and it's cards and whatnot. It's not the first time I played, I was like, I don't get it. It's just too much happening. There's too many rules. But the second and third time I played it, I was like, oh, I get it. Now I can like lean into strategy. Like playing Monopoly for the first time. Okay, you got like different sides of the board. You're like, why is Boardwalk so much more money than like, I don't know, St. Mark's Place? Like, it make sense. But then once you start to learn the rules and like free parking and the jail process, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And then now you be more strategic. Now you can, instead of being like, I'm going to buy any property, you're like, I'm going to go after that side of the board with the green and the blue. And I'll make sure I get a hotel, because if somebody lands on that, that's thousands of dollars versus if somebody lands on this light blue and it's like a $50 or $100. Okay, hopefully it's making sense if you play Monopoly. If you don't worry about it. Okay, let me get back to my to my thing. Okay, so do you have a capacity? So this is what I want you to ask yourself. So Mary, this is for you too. Whenever you are thinking about, okay, here's what I want to do, I want to do the things that's required to finish this dissertation. I want you to say, okay, ask yourself, do I have the capacity? How I define capacity is, do I have the time, the know-how, and the energy to do the thing? So this weekend, tomorrow, we're going to be doing the Write Your Literature Review retreat. And the promise of this retreat is they're going to walk away with a draft of their literature review. The first question I am going to ask them tomorrow: do you have the capacity to write a full draft of your literature review? Number one, do you have the time? Well, the time is set aside because this retreat is 3 days. Do you know how? Do you know how to write? Do you know from start to finish how to do a thing? I'm going to explain it to them over the weekend. And then energy is up to them. You have the physical, mental, and emotional energy. So, Mary, here's something I want you to think about before I go too far off into this. You might be telling yourself, well, I have the time technically to do it if I move some things around, right? If I wake up really early in the morning, or if I'm willing to stay up late at night, technically I have the time. And you might be saying, in general, I know how to write, let's say, a literature review. I know I need to read some things and be able to write a 30 to 50 page document about this topic, right? But here's the thing that we dismiss as people. Do I have the energy? Do I have the physical, mental, and emotional energy? Physical energy. Does my body and my brain have enough calories, which is energy? Do I have enough calories to execute the task? Like, does my body have enough energy to actually do the writing, to do the reading, the comprehension? Mental energy. Do I have the focus? I may have the physical energy, but do I have mental ability to focus on the reading, to focus on the comprehension, to focus on writing words on the page? Do I have the mental ability to do that? I may have the mental ability to do that, but do I have emotional energy? Meaning, do I care? Do I care about what I'm doing? Do I see the big picture of why this is important to write a literature review? And you might be saying to yourself, if you grew up in a family like I did, well, it doesn't matter if you care. It doesn't matter if you have the energy. You just need to do what you're supposed to do because it's your schoolwork. Well, how is that working for you? If it was as simple as it doesn't matter, you should be able to do it anyway, then why are we not doing it? Another way I would say that if shame was going to work, why is it not working? If telling yourself you just need to do it was going to work, why is it not working right now? How is that a moral failure on your part? Like, how does that have anything to do with you wanting to do it or you knowing what to do, right? If you should just be able to do, like, it doesn't matter how you feel. If your feelings didn't matter, then why are you not doing it? Feelings matter is my point. I'm probably getting this confused. My point is how you feel matters. And this is real deep. And this is a lot of what we do inside the group. There's a reason why I focus on how you feel so much is because you have most likely been told your entire life how you feel doesn't matter. Think about the deepness of that. How you feel doesn't matter. And let me give some compassion here. There's a reason when we come from where we come from with the histories and our ancestors, why we were told the messaging, it doesn't matter how you feel, because that was about survival. When you're trying to survive to see another day, when like what you say, how you dress, what you do could possibly get you, I'm on YouTube, it could possibly get you unalived. It makes sense then why generations of our family will keep passing down these messages, especially around respectability of like, you need to do these things to be able to survive in this world. Because they made it clear that we don't belong. And so how you feel doesn't matter because I am concerned about how you survive. I'm concerned you making it to another day. And so growing up, coming from working class parents, right, it makes sense where they're like, it doesn't matter how you just got to show up and you got to do your work because you need to be grateful that you even have a job. As a girl child, I understand why my mom will send me the messaging of, it doesn't matter how you feel, you just need to work because you got options. But because when she was growing up, women couldn't just go get their own bank accounts without a man's approval. Women couldn't just have their own money or start their own businesses. And raising me, late 80s, early 90s, right, where all these options are available, more than they were 20 years prior, it makes sense why she would give me the messaging of like, you need to do good at school, you need to get a good job, you need to be as independent as possible because you got options that you can take advantage of. But also in that is that she didn't have the experience of going to a doctoral program or having her own business or having a salaried position. So she can't teach me things that she hasn't really had the experience in. She can teach me what she knows. And what she knows is if I put my head down and I work hard and I override how I feel in the moment, I can make that sacrifice overriding how I feel in the moment, then my kids will be in a better position. But she's also passing that along. Like, I'm not demonizing my mother. I'm trying to get y'all to see, right? The generations before us are just giving us their best knowledge that they had at the moment. It is our job, knowing that because they sacrificed, because they got us to this point where we can be in this high ed program and we can be probably one of the first to become a doctor, and we have all these additional opportunities in front of us that they didn't have. Because of that, we have to also learn a new way of being, because the things that got us here, which is the sacrifices, lessons, and the lessons of those who came before us, are not going to get us into these rooms that we never been in before. And what you don't know is what other people know who have people in their families or their immediate circles who are doctor, and they're like the third, fourth, fifth generation doctor in their family. What they know, what we're learning is, oh, there's a process, is very linear, and as long as you follow that process and that when you talk to these people in this way, then you're going to make it through. But because we come from a history or a context that says we have to learn the hidden curriculum and we got to figure out the very dangerous like loopholes and whatnot, because we're doing a lot of extra work, we start to complicate a process that was never meant to be complicated. I hope I am being clear that I'm not saying that this is on you. I'm saying when you realize that you made it to the place where people were sacrificing for you to get to, the skills that we have to develop now is, how do I stop living in survival mode? And how do I start to see that, okay, I made it to the place that they dreamed about me like getting to. Now, how do I thrive in this place? At the risk of sounding very cliche, how do you stop surviving and how do you thrive in the opportunity and the privilege so many people have sacrificed for you to get to? We went somewhere, but this is important, y'all. This is why I talk so much about your emotions. They didn't have the privilege. My mama didn't have the privilege of talking about her emotions. I do. Right? My grandmother definitely, as the first Black woman in the Chicago like postal service, didn't have the privilege to talk about, I don't belong here. She was just trying to survive. So her kids could have different options. My mom was just trying to survive, who also worked at the post office, so that I could go to school and be like my nerdy, like free spirited self of like, I read all these books, girl. She didn't have the privilege of thinking about how she feels, right? It is our work now to, in order to thrive, in order for us to fully take advantage of the opportunities that have been presented to us, we have to learn how to feel. And that is going to feel very dangerous. There's a part of your brain and your nervous system that's like, absolutely not, girl. What does this have to do with procrastination? You're procrastinating. You don't trust yourself. Something feels off. And you keep ignoring your basic needs. You keep ignoring your emotions. And you keep telling yourself it doesn't matter how you feel, push through. And I am telling you that the reason why you're procrastinating, the reason why you don't do the things that you know you should do, is because there's a part of you that's like, I am tired of you ignoring me. So until you acknowledge that I'm here, we're just not going to do anything. If you want a name for this, this is inner child work. There's an inner you that's like, I'm not going to keep ignoring how I feel. When you can stop focusing so much on getting the approval of your chair and committee and realize you probably know more than them, you probably work circles around them. When you can accept that about yourself, you'll take the pressure off there, and then you'll allow yourself that time and attention back to make sure you're drinking water every day, making sure you're going to lay down somewhere every day, making sure you actually eat meals every day, making sure that you connect with people who you love and you learn to enjoy. You learn to sit on your couch all day on a Saturday watching Living Single and not 1 ounce of guilt. You allow yourself to learn those skills. And yes, my friend, those are skills. That's not you being lazy. That's not you saying you don't care. That is you learning how to enjoy the sacrifices and the privileges that you have available to you now. Okay? Yes. Holistic coaching. I am a student affairs professional. That means I care about the entire student. We are the people on college campuses who are like, hey, what you doing? You want to come over here and play this game? You want to come to this pizza party? We're doing that because we know that people, when they learn, is when all of their needs are being addressed. The reason why you keep going to your chair and you keep writing and plan after plan and wondering why it's not working is because you're only focused on one part of capacity. You're only focusing on, do I know what to do or do I have the time? You're ignoring this. You're ignoring this part. So inside of the Finish Your Dissertation Institute, what I ask students to do is give me 10 hours a week. People love to be like, what am I going to do in 10 hours? What are you doing now, friend? You're spending 10 hours a day in front of your laptop doing nothing. Nothing is getting on that page. And I get that you might feel good that you logged in hours, but if you're not producing anything for those hours, you wasted your time. I want you to have your life back. I want you to know that you can complete 40 hours of work in 10 hours a week. That's what we do. In this group, the dissertation comes way after you as a person. It's just another thing that you're going to get done. So students, 10 hours or less, because 10 hours is the max. And a philosophy that we follow is, okay, I know I got to write this findings chapter, but can I just figure out what my 3 bullet points of things are going to be? Like, this can I just mentality is all about how do we break big projects down into little pieces? Why? Because we got 10 hours and we're going to make the most of this 10 hours. And the way you make the most of a 10-hour period is you break things down in such a way that it becomes so easy to complete. The second part, once you have your schedule for the week, your 10 hours, then it's about how do you break down tasks from start to finish? Something that I ask students to do is if you were going to hand off your to-do list to like an assistant or maybe one of your kids, if they had to execute your to-do list and they could not ask you for questions, how would you write out that to-do list? How would you break it down so that they would not have to ask you questions? This is where most people are like, I'll figure it out later. No, you won't. Because if you can't figure it out now, while you are setting aside time to do your plan and to figure out what you're going to do for the week, if you can't figure that out on a Sunday or a Monday, on Thursday, when you're tired and you had a whole week and that person is getting on your nerves at your job and your kid is sick for the 3rd week in a row, you don't have it to figure it out then. You want to make a plan every week so that you on Thursday or Friday, who's tired, who don't even know why they enrolled in a doctoral program, you want to make a plan that they could easily execute even when they don't feel like it. So when you break things down into chunks that are very step by step, let me give you an example off the top of my head. Open up a Word document, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, set a timer for 25 minutes. Read the first sentence of your outline. Free write about that for 25 minutes. If your plan is not detailed, guess what happens? Guess what happens to you, the Thursday or the Saturday version of you? They're going to look at your very vague plan that says, work on literature review, work on findings chapter. They're going to look at that and be like, that's too much. Let me go sit on the couch and let me just get my stuff together. And then you getting yourself together on the couch becomes you running a tape in your mind about all the ways you never show up for yourself, how you never do what you said you're going to do, how you're so lazy. And yeah, you're sitting there taking a break, watching Living Single, but are you really taking a break when all you're doing is talking shit to yourself? No. So instead, on Sunday, you make a plan that says it's very detailed. Put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Open up a Word document. Read the first line of my outline. Write about that for 25 minutes. Because you know what, that gets you to action. Because if I'm in my bed and I don't feel like it on a Saturday, but I look at that list and it says, okay, set your timer, I could do that in the bed. open up a document, I could do that on my phone. Read the first word of the outline, I can pull up that document on my phone in my bed under my covers with my nice pillows. Free write for 25 minutes, my thumbs work. I could do that on my phone and free write for 25 minutes. And when that 25 minutes is over, I could close my phone and continue to lay back down and feel good about myself because I know I did what I said I was going to do. Why? Because my plan helped me to get there. And if you have trouble making a plan that way, or you have trouble because you don't know how to break things down, ask for help, ask questions. It is okay. You are a student, you are someone who's learning how to do this for the first time. Ask for help, ask questions. If you don't have nobody to do that, come inside the Finish Your Dissertation Institute. Okay, all questions I love. Okay, as a person who has 50 billion questions, I love when people ask me questions. I don't get irritated. Even if you thought it was a question that you should know the answer to, I'm going to give you an answer because I understand there's just things that we don't know because people haven't taught us. They assume that we know and they punish us like we're supposed to know. But if you never taught me how to know, if you never told me how many paragraphs to write for each section, how would I know? If you never told me how many pages are supposed to be in each chapter, how am I supposed to know? You never taught me how to edit my writing. If you only told me to look for spelling and grammar, but you never told me about academic writing and how it's repetitive, you never really taught me APA. How am I supposed to know? How are you supposed to know? Most of your shame, and when I'm shame, that voice that's like, well, you should know this and you should, is coming from you simply don't know. You don't know, and people are expecting that you know, but how would you know? Okay. And this last piece, take care of yourself. I would much rather you focus your time and your week on doing this than writing. I would much rather you focus on how do I drink at least 64 ounces of water a day? How do I learn how to eat a real meal? Okay. Not try to survive off of iced coffee and a donut every day. That's shade to Patty, okay? Because don't think I'm over here just like doing all the things. I would much rather you learn how to set up your bedroom or get yourself on a routine at night that helps you to fall asleep in 10 minutes or less. Because if you sleep, your brain gets recharged. A recharged brain, you can wake up the next day and get everything done in your life as well as show up for your dissertation. Take your medicine. Okay? You need brain power. You need time to remember to take your medicine. Call your mama. She misses you. Call her. Tell her hi. Right in community. Doing this by yourself, it seems logical, like you can get done faster. Is no. When you are a scholar, your job is to produce new knowledge that does not happen by yourself. You need other brains and other people to bounce ideas off of. I get that there are like some things around people like confidentiality, people taking ideas. Find you a group of people who you can trust at least enough to do scholarship with. Like I said, come on into the Finish Your Dissertation Institute and ask for feedback. Not only should you ask for it, but apply the feedback. Okay. A lot of you ask for feedback, you see all the track changes, and you think that that means that you don't know what you're doing when it was really the person giving you the gift of here that you should focus on. Feedback is the lights. I like to think about it like the lights that for the planes to know where they should land. Because there's a lot that you could change about your draft, but when your chair gives you feedback, they're telling you what they expect from you through their feedback. They're giving you a clear checklist. If you do these things, you get to the defense. It is not saying that you should know how to do this or that you're a bad person. No, they're like, you're new to this. Let me help guide you. And how they're guiding you is feedback. The challenge is the way that we do courses and assignments is that usually when you get feedback on an assignment, that means you didn't do the assignment correctly. That's not the same thing in scholarship, in writing, especially with your dissertation. Your dissertation feedback is like, if you do more of this, you get done faster. It's not a ding towards you. I think that's it. When you change how you act, you focus on these habits of like taking care of yourself, giving yourself the energy, focusing on a detailed plan, and giving yourself constraint around I'll do this in 10 hours or less. Like you will change how you feel and you think, which will then become cyclical. And before you know it, you be like, Dale, getting ready for your defense. Another way of saying this, if you learn how to act like a doctor, because I'm gonna come back to this. Here's the thing. Just because you get done with the dissertation doesn't mean that the pressure goes away. What you signed up for when you enrolled into a doctoral program, what you signed up for is I want the pressure. I want all the smoke. That's what it means to be at the top 3% of the world in terms of education. You are an expert. What comes with being an expert is the pressure, is the heaviness, because you have the knowledge and experience to deal with the heaviness. So those of you who are rushing to get to the end of the dissertation because you think it's going to give you so much relief, it's going to be temporary. And then that pressure is going to come right back, because now you're going to have 3 to 4 research projects. You're going to have people asking you to publish. You're going to have people wanting to ask you different questions. You have to still learn how to manage all of that and still take care of yourself and your other responsibilities. That is not going away. So I would much rather you learn how to deal with that now as a student, so that all you have to do is build those skills when they're calling you doctor and more amazing opportunities are coming your way. This is not a hurry up and get to the end and then I'll have to worry about it no more. When you get to the end, you know what's waiting for you? Even more writing, even more publications, even more, hey, and especially for those of you who want a business, even more consultations are coming. And you have to learn how to manage that while still taking care of yourself. That is why I'm like, please don't rush. It's not going to do what you think. All right. If you want to learn more, go to qualscholars.com. Right now, we are accepting students into the Finish Your Dissertation Institute. We are cutting this off on October 28th. On October 28th, friend, that's it. We're closing the doors until January. Why? Because we got some other projects that are coming up. In the Finish Your Dissertation Institute, we are giving you the skills to be able to write your dissertation in 12 months or less. But beyond the dissertation, we are teaching you how to be someone. All these things I was talking about, how to be someone who prioritizes themselves, their well-being, and get shit done. If you really want to know how to work, when I really do mean you're going to get 40 hours of work done in hours, that is what I'm teaching you. How like detailed this was the generic version of what I actually teach in the program. I just didn't want to overwhelm y'all on this live today, but you can ask the students who are already in the chat the details, how you learn how to set up your week, how to learn how to plan. Oh, you got to figure out how to balance taking care of your mother while also getting this busy season at work done and getting things done in your dissertation. That's what we talk about. On Sundays, we plan from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. We are planning. We go through the scholar planning routine. It's the same process, but what it helps you to do is get clear on, okay, this is what I'm going to do this week, and this is how I'm going to get it done, and this is how I prepare for the obstacles that may come up. Obstacles like, I don't feel like it, or this unexpected thing got dropped on my desk. This is how I'm going to still get things done. On Mondays and Thursdays, we have dissertation sessions where it's like, okay, have you met with your chair? What did they say? Show me their feedback. This is how you respond to the feedback. Oh, your committee member is trying to play in your face. Let's strategize together how to work through that. On Thursday, it's like, okay, you need to write. Here's your process for writing. You got stuck here. Let's talk it out. I am there. Or a team, another coach is there. Those are our 3 calls, but we also have co-working calls, like co-writing calls. We have 6 of those a week. There are people just like you who are in their dissertation process and they're leading those calls. And it's just meant to be able to have community and a dedicated time where you know that I'm going to work on my dissertation. So if all goes left, I know that I'll have these writing sessions to work in community. Plus, there's a whole vault of information about each section of the dissertation. I've been doing this for 7, 8 years at this point. I love to do presentations like this. There's a whole vault of these. So if you have a question about how do I write my methods chapter, there's a whole training on how to write the methods chapter. Like this weekend, I'm doing Write Your Literature Review Retreat. The people in the Finish Your Dissertation Institute is going to get the whole workbook of how to do that. I mean, it's already available. I was building on what I already have. And there are a team of people who've been where you've been, who are like, I help you. You're doing a quantitative project. We got Dr. Lee Hill who can help you. You just need somebody to help you process. You're going through a heavy season of grief. Doctor, I got you. That's her jam. Grief. It's her jam. I know that's probably a strange thing to say, but it is her jam. Right. I will eat up a qualitative methodology. Okay. Let me help you. Plus, like time management, we got Dr. Henry, who is there with you on Sundays to make sure that your plan is doable and it is going to make sure that it centers you and taking care of yourself. Plus, the whole Qual Scholars community. So go to qualscholars.com. You can read more about that or see any other option that may be available for you. Okay, I'm going to see if there are any questions. You out here stomping with my Air Force Ones. I think that needs to be my theme song, Chris. We just talked about this last night, right, Kristen? So please check it out. Let me know if you have questions. You can even type FYD in the chat and you'll get a link. If you're on Instagram, you can type that and it'll come. If you're on YouTube, you just go to the description box and the link should be right there. But y'all, that's going to do it. It's been an hour. I'm going to go eat some lunch before getting ready for tonight's call. Inside of Finish Your Dissertation, we are talking about how to manage your committee, how to manage up, okay, how to keep the committee on the right timeline, because sometimes committee members get beside themselves. So that's what we're talking about tonight at 6 o'clock, and you can join us if you sign up. And if you have questions, let me know. But I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.